OG, what's the word?
Brother, let me tell you something, man. I just had this. I was just talking to my homegirl about this, and I said this. I said, listen, we don't live in these times anymore where um, the security is there. You know, like when men just walk off and just be like, well, whatever. The batch of men that you have out here today, they're not playing that, and you can get really, really hurt.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times just a moment of just saying, hey, you know what? I may have to take this on the phone or leave can save you. And, I keep telling I'm trying to educate women dead serious that they really need to be very mindful of the things they're doing right now. We're not dealing with the levels of men that me or you come back with a little bit more discipline. These men, these numbers that we're seeing right now, man, is kind of wild. You know what I'm saying? So I see women doing a lot of stuff, fragrant stuff, and it used to be a time some man in the vicinity would stop it. These dudes ain't doing that, man. And I give you an example. My homegirl, she was out at the club last weekend. She out there drinking. She got a little bit tipsy. So her homegirl want to mouth off to the other guy, and she keep going at him and going. So she threw a drink in his face.
Yeah. She
He
got she
he
got whatever she deserved after that.
She got rocked,
Yeah. She
and
should
no
have.
helped her. And then she started screaming, "Nobody gonna help me! Nobody gonna do nothing to
Absolutely
him!"
not.
The police came. Police came, and they pressed charges on her.
As they should have.
Don't live in the time, man. And no one. I'm old enough to know. I'm old enough. Back in the day, women didn't do a lick of jail for doing stuff, man. We don't live in those times anymore. Women are doing time for this stuff, man. And I mean, can you imagine you you go to jail and you got to go to jail and you're doing this? But if that would have happened, and she was over the age of 4, she's 53, by the way. So she knew better, but she comes from the age where I come from, where you throw a drink in a man's face, he just wipe it off and just go to the bathroom and do whatever. Bro, we don't live in those times anymore, man. These brothers are not the same. And men like you and men like me are begging women to kind of sort of tape it off a little bit, because these men are not, you losing your life.
Absolutely. And I mean, and obviously, you older than me, so I can't speak as to what like, most men would have done back in the day if a woman was to have thrown a drink in their face. But like you said, nowadays, um,
Mm,
listen, as a woman, first of all, you shouldn't even be like throwing a drink in anyone's face.
come on,
Especially if a man didn't touch you unauthorized, if he didn't say anything, disrespectful to you, he didn't call you out your name. If you just, I don't know, if you just annoyed that you feel he's too close to you, or you just don't want him talking to you, so you just result to like throwing a drink in his face in
man.
the in the in the midst of like a lot of people. Yes, they're going like there's a lot of men out here that's gonna slap you. There's a lot of men out here that's gonna punch you in your face. And look, as a man, and I'm not married. I don't got kids, but I have a mother. I have sisters. I have a father. I have family. I got people that love and care about me. You think I'm about to like risk my life to go put myself in the middle of something that one has nothing to do with me? And let's say it's two people that are in a relationship. A lot of times, listen, OG, there's a lot of black men that are in the dirt right now because they try to intervene and try to
Mm,
like help some woman. And that
nope.
same black man that's in the dirt right now, that woman that he was trying to help, she's still in a relationship with that guy. She's
Yeah.
still in a relationship with him. That girl's family didn't pay for that man's funeral. They ain't say thank you to that man. Like, so when they be on this whole protect black woman stuff, for anybody to be walking outside thinking that somebody that doesn't have any loyalty to them and that they don't have any loyalty to is supposed to risk their life for them, that's crazy.
You
To
know
me,
what? I'm gonna tell you this, man, and I'm gonna be real. And here's the crazy part: when my homegirl called me because her girlfriend got mad because she didn't send her boyfriend or well her fiance to go and do something to the guy because they had his address, right? Because of the police report. And she's like, I'm not sending him out to do that. Women, I'm going to be real, man, and I got to be honest. Women are protecting their men. They're like, listen, back in the day, yeah, you'll go do that because there was protection. There was a slap on the wrist. You go over there, knock the dude out, or y'all go fight, y'all go scrap, and then that's it. But man, we living in times where dudes is not here no more for standing up for some stuff that wasn't true or because of something somebody else started. They did the right thing. The cops did the right thing by pressing by going on and say, "Hey, yo, listen, we're gonna have to put you." You know what I'm saying? Because you threw the drink in his face. Because from what I, long story short, because when I understand, he got a little cut on his face or whatever. So, and then there's cameras everywhere. Them days are gone, man. These brothers are not the same. And if you're not thinking about your own preservation and your own self preservation, then no disrespect to no one. Why should I think about it? And if you are not thinking about your own self preservation, that means you reckless, and I gotta let you go because you're gonna put me in any situation, man. And I don't want
exactly.
to be in a situation where I lose everything because of your bad behavior, yo. I can't do that. Now
Yeah,
there's a difference between if we minding our business and somebody come run up on us, the law can protect me. The law can give me some protection. The law can't give me some protection. You throw a drink in somebody's face and I go fight the dude and then they look at me like, nah, Slim, you wasn't supposed to get in there. You starting something. But the law can protect me. Hey, we were walking down the street. Dude came over here. You know what I'm saying? Situation came up. I had to defend myself. But we
Ye-
don't live in those world. We don't live in that time anymore where you could do foul shit.
yeah,
And, and I'm being honest with you, and I tell women every day, you got to be smart, man. These dudes is not you're not going to just get in heated conversation in these bars where alcohol is being drink and alcohol is being presented, and then say something fly to this dude, and you don't know this dude's mental state. You don't know these men's mental state, and you're not in a safe place. You're not in a safe place. I don't know where these women get this stuff from. The bar is not a safe place, and
so
nobody's required to protect you, yo. We're
exactly.
not living that no more, and it's sad. You know what I'm saying? But people got to go home back to their families.
Yeah, exactly. But like
You know?
even people that don't have like their own immediate family that they've created, men got people that love and care about them, that they got a life to live on for themselves on their own. So to put their own life at risk, to risk being severely injured or put, in the dirt. And you gotta think about it. This is 2023. This is not 1953. Like people is not fighting nowadays. Like you more than likely you gonna get your ass popped, especially if you're trying to intervene with something that has nothing to do with you. I want to
Thank you,
address a
bro.
couple comments in here. Britt says, however, I do think some men should intervene when a man is trying to harm women randomly. Britt, the only intervening I'm gonna do is contacting authority. Britt, I
That's
am
it.
not I am not involving myself. I'm not getting in the middle of something that has nothing to do with me. And this is just me. I'm not speaking for Joe. I'm not speaking for any other man. I don't see any honor amongst being a dead hero for something like that.
Yeah,
It's one thing, Joe is a vet himself. It's one thing for people that, go to war and, go put their lives on the line for the country, but them people are definitely heroes, but a man that just wanted to go involve himself in something that had nothing to do with him. And now, there's men out here, like I said, there's men out here that have left wives, left kids, left people that love and care about them dearly, all because they wanted to get involved in something that had nothing to do with them. So yeah, I don't advise doing that. And then the second comment that I want to address is Bree said They got to have emotional intelligence. If they don't know how to control their emotions, that's a sign. Man, listen. Tay, what's up, Tay? Listen, a lot of you women, listen, a lot of you women, like, if you're lucky and blessed, you won't even ever see, especially if you don't push your man to get that way, you won't ever even see your man be quote unquote aggressive. You won't even see him get there. But there are a lot of men that, they're not going to put their hands on a woman. They're not going to get physically aggressive with her at all, but they will raise their voice. They'll get a little stern and get a little bold and look at you a certain way and just inflict that energy onto a woman. And that's enough to get some woman to like pipe down and like get in check. That be intimidating to a lot of women, just that doing that alone.
I mean, you know what, man? I'm gonna bring up that Florida case of that young man, the ex
Yeah, the
football.
football player.
Look at what happened. She goes and remix some stuff, and then get one of the dudes gone, man. That's a boy, and they going out here going to fight somebody over a lie. Ill prepared, didn't know what they was doing, hotheads, going out here doing some stuff that they wasn't supposed to do. That's what I'm saying, man. Like me, I'm 45. I'm about to be 46 come Tuesday, bruh. I'm gonna be real with you. I've been to war. I done did some things over the war. Them days are over. I keep my personal stuff. I keep my concealed carry with me for my protection and my kids only. And in concealed carry class, they tell you are not to get involved with nobody else's stuff. It is only for your personal protection. And you call the authorities for everything else. I tell my son, and I'm gonna be real. Even my ex-wife say, "Hey, you're not to get into nothing with nobody. That got nothing to do with you. We got to raise these children." That's what it's about, man. I'm sorry, I got to call the cops because there's no laws to protect me, man. Look at that young man who's going to that in New York City. There's no laws, man. That dude ain't getting out of jail. They gonna make an example out of him. You gotta call the authorities, man. We don't live in those times anymore. You know what I'm saying? And yo, jokers ain't coming home. It's kids out without fathers.
Exactly.
Sorry, man. And you know, because of a situation, because of an argument, or because of or whatever, and you getting out of your bed and you going to have, nope, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I call the cops. I
Yep.
call the police. That's what I'm supposed to do. And I tell every man to do that. It ain't making you a coward, it's making you smart. Because,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's making you smart.
No, you're not. No, listen. If that's gonna make me a coward, then I'm just gonna be a coward then.
I'm one. I
Because
know
I
most
what why would I put my life on the line for just not even a woman, just a person that has no loyalty towards me at the end of the day? Like I'm doing my due diligence by contacting authority. If authority is near me, I'm rushing to go get the nearest authority. That's the help that I'm going to do. Because you got to
that's
think
it.
about it, Joe. These same women that'll say, people are upholding being cowards. They wouldn't want their brother to put their life on the line. They wouldn't want their father to put their life on the line. They wouldn't want
Yeah.
their boyfriend, their husband, or their son to put their life on the line. But somebody that they have no loyalty to, they expect him to put their life on the line for them and theirs and other random women. Absolutely not.
But and here's the thing: what Brittany got to understand. This we're not talking about children. Children, you got laws to protect you.
Right.
That's a difference than an innocent person, right? There's laws to protect you for that, right? But there's no laws when it's an adult. There's no laws, man. I'm dead serious, and yo, I'm believe in carrying a firearm. I stay on that. You cannot get involved. If it's a child, yeah, you could get in. You could get involved. Of course, I'm going to get involved if it's a child. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm not going to do is when it's a full grown, eligible adult who you getting in somebody's face. We're talking about somebody getting angry, getting in someone's face. Nah, Slim, I'm not. Nah, I'm not.
And Joe, I'll go as far as to say it says a lot about women that like even be on that type of time with men. I'm telling
Yeah,
you, they either I always say, listen, women that actually like try to like buck up and square up with men, they've either like done that before, or they were in a relationship where they were doing that type of stuff, or a lot of them just haven't had their teeth knocked out yet. You know, they've done that stuff to a
yeah,
man like Noble. They've done that stuff to a man like Joe, to where
yeah,
to where you know they was just getting away with it. That's why I say they meet the right one, and it's not gonna be so sweet no more. Teeth gonna be knocked out their mouth.
yeah.
And then
Exactly.
and
That's
then,
why
then once they get their teeth knocked out their mouth, they don't do it again. So it's like, bro, just prevent yourself from like, don't even wait to get your teeth knocked out. Just don't be on that type of time with men. There's a lot of men out here that you can have a just respectful conversation with them, and they gonna be mild mannered and have a respectful conversation with you. You can express whatever you want to express to them. But when this every man out here just like ain't, I don't know, even tempered, if you will, and just can just with door and withstand all that, you know?
I agree, and that's the thing. I tell people, we're not, Brittany. I'm not talking about a woman where you seeing, being whatever, an innocent woman. I'm talking about women who are, and that's few and far between. I've ever seen that. I have never seen that. I have never came across that. But I have came across women who have gotten in men's faces,
Yeah,
and what should not have been in the man's face, have done things, beat the man,
yeah,
grab objects, do all that, and I'm
yeah,
looking at this like this big man and expect the men around her to co-sign and not allow this guy to do this, and then a lot of times it don't. I'm not getting involved in that. I'll call the authorities. That's what I'll do. I'll call the authorities. And I, matter of fact, I'm not in that situation because I don't go places where that situation is actually arising. So I don't mean, but I've seen it,
I
and I know.
value I value my life, Joe. I value my life. I value my life, Joe. And honestly, brother, I value your life. I value, I have to think about all the people that love and care about me dearly. I have to think about all the people that I love and care about dearly. Like putting my life on the line, risking being severely injured. There are so many men in the dirt right now, Joe. There
It
are
is,
so
bro.
many men that are paralyzed today. There are so many men that they've had just like life and just life affecting injuries trying to get involved in something that they had no business getting involved in. Absolutely not. Get somebody else to do it, ladies. I'm
Yeah,
not
yo,
doing it.
yo, listen, man. Most of the time, the response time is 2 to 3 minutes from a cop. That's all you need. I'm not. I'm with you on that, man. I tell my son that. I tell any of the young folks, listen, call the cops. They got nothing to do with you, man. And if it's not, it's sad that we have come to this place in time that I thought we would never be in, because it wasn't like that when I was young. Like, you see somebody do something to a woman, regardless if it was her fault or not, you were going to handle it.
Right. That's because you
Now,
know what I think though, Joe. Not to cut you off. That's because y'all was actually like fighting when you were my age. People was actually fist
exactly.
fighting.
Yeah, they ain't doing
Nowadays,
that anymore.
nowadays, like niggas is walking outside like itching to like wait for somebody to play with them.
Yeah,
Like people
they
is
ain't doing
actually
that
going to
anymore.
the gun range because they not going to the gun range because they just enjoy shooting. They going to the gun range because they enjoy shooting and they waiting to make somebody a victim. Like
Exactly.
niggas
And
is
there's no
crazy out here.
law. There's no laws to cover you, man. That's my biggest thing. There's nothing, yo, that you lose. You lose. You can lose your life. You can lose your everything about you. I'm sorry. Call the authorities, man. It's not worth it. It is not. I don't believe that nobody should get involved in any domestic dispute. They got nothing to do. Like I said, man, my homegirl, she did, what I'm saying? She was with a girlfriend and she threw that drink and it nicked them a little bit. She said it wasn't nothing really, major, but it was something, you know what I'm saying, for the police to do it. And the police, hey, he put her down, man.
Yeah, and that's what really needs to start happening. law enforcement and authority. They need to start apprehending these women and
Yeah, they don't play these.
giving them the proper giving them the proper consequences, because when if more stuff like that starts happening, a lot of women won't even think about doing a lot of the things that they do. And another thing I want to say, Joe, is a lot of women out here, like, there's some crazy women out here, man. They will talk to a man a certain way. They will get in a man's face a certain way because they know that, like, by law, from in most cases, they're going to be protected. They know a man not supposed to hit them. There's some women out here that even be baiting men to hit them. Like, hit me. Like, can you imagine women like that? There's women out here like that. I know you've seen these women. You've been on this earth 20 years longer than me. I know
I
you've
see.
seen these women.
I see. I mean, but you know what? And that's the thing. Like, what the brother said. It not those times are gone, brother. The young man who said, the police won't take it serious. Nah, bro. That them days are gone. The police, they are obligated by law to take it serious. That them days are gone. If they don't take it serious, that's because the man ain't taking it serious. But at this time, they take it serious now because there's a lot of situations there where it doesn't. So I say this. I just tell, like, yo, I don't stay in those situations. I don't go to them places, but I have seen some things in my life, and I used to be, like I said, man. When I was out there in them places, man, I was like, "Dang, yo, you gonna talk to that dude like that?" And this dude like 7 feet tall.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Literally 150 pounds more than you. And you talking
Yeah,
to him
you
crazy.
talking them crazy. Or you talking to this dude right here who just got out of jail for putting 5, 6 people down.
Exactly.
Yo, and you doing this? Nah,
Right.
you have to look at some of this and be like, there's a level of common sense that is lacking, and a lot of stuff that and even when I listen to some of them when they said, "Well, that's not right." You all should train men. No, I can't train another man to protect himself and do whatever. You got to be able to understand that that's not what you're supposed to do. You have to have situational awareness. You got to be smart. You cannot do this, man. You don't know what day that man had, and this may be the day he ready to lose it all. You know what I'm saying? And take everybody out, yo. I
But
don't
but
want
Joe,
to.
this the thing. This But Joe, this the thing, and this is what I was saying earlier. And I ain't even been on here for too long, but like Joe, I honestly, and I'm not saying this is majority of cases or a lot of cases, because again, every man is different. But I know there's a lot of cases out here, Joe, to where the man, he will be the noble type of man. He'll be the Joe type of man to where he will just not even entertain the verbal abuse, right? He'll just be nonchalant, just brush it off, let her say what she wants to say, let her get her ish out if that's what's gonna make her feel better at the end of the day. But I feel like that can be a slow burn for a lot of men, and it turns
Yeah,
a lot of men into a crock pot, and the
it does.
pressure is just building up, and then finally, when that man reaches that breaking point, and that crock pot just busts open. There's a lot of men when they reach that breaking point, they make that mistake and they get physically aggressive with the woman, but the whole time the woman been building the pressure up.
Yeah. And that's sad because I think a lot of men, man, have to build up themselves to say, hey, yo, listen, I can't take that. The moment you start to see that bad behavior, you need to leave. And
Mm-hmm.
and because let me tell you why it's so dangerous, man. A man will stay in that abusive relationship, yo, for a long time, and it wears him down until that one day he snap, where the whole house got to go. And that right there is the problem. Just leave, man. The moment you see it, the moment you see the pluck, if she do a pluck or do something small, and that's anybody. I'll say that's for anybody. The plucks or the tap on the back of the head, hey, you gotta go. You gotta go. Nope, sorry. You out of here. Because them
Man,
little subtle things, man, is how it start. You
it,
gotta
it
go.
it it is how it starts, but I and you could probably, I mean, you could probably speak to this. I mean, it's easier to say than do sometimes because I just think, and obviously again, I'm young, I'm younger than you, Joe, but I just think from my life, I think it's only been in recent times, in recent years, that like us as men have been getting told that, we don't have to put up with certain stuff from women. We don't have to stay when a woman is being physically abusive to us. We don't have to have a woman being verbally abusive to us and just put up with it. I think it's only in recent years that we've been getting told that. It's only been in recent years that we've been getting told, hey, if this woman is argumentative, if this woman is combative, leave her alone. And even, even the late Kevin Samuels used to speak on that, like, bro, leave these women alone. They are bad news. They're not going to benefit you in the long run. They're just going to hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. You are absolutely right. Because when I was young, I was in an abusive relationship. I stayed, and I stayed longer than what I was supposed to, because I was told that I was a man, and I
Exactly.
was dealing with it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. You right. It's not. And this is very recently when men have been saying, "Yo, I'm out. I'm
Exactly.
not gonna let you do that." And I think that's the reason why there's so much friction between the two sexes, is because a lot of men are realizing, yo, I'm out. I'm not letting you do that to me. And they're now escaping, and they're not dealing with it anymore. When I was young, man, when I was dealing with it, I just dealt with it. I was just like, man, you know what? Then I tiptoe around or whatever. I was like, man, she all right. I'm a man. It don't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But what's crazy is once I got out of the situation, the mental effects,
Yeah.
the mental effects stayed. You know what I'm saying? But I was lucky enough to go, say I went to Iraq right after. So then in my mind, I was like, wait a minute, yo, I just was getting beat on? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, hold on. And I had to think about it for a second. And then as I got coming of age, man, and I started getting older, and then right after outside of my marriage, when I went through the divorce, I started to realize, nah, don't accept that shit. And that's
Exactly.
recent. And but a lot of men, even my homeboy, man, he just got out of a mentally and verbally abusive marriage, man, and he was recently told, you don't got to take that. They never told him that 15 years ago.
Exactly.
He's dealt with it. So it's your generation that's like, nah, I ain't taking that.
Yeah,
You,
exactly. And that's why I'm happy. That's why I'm happy too, man, because I'm happy to be alive and be the age that I am right now. And I really look at this as a revolution, Joe, because you know when I used to hear like Kevin Samuels talk about this stuff and hear men of your generation talk about this stuff, and honestly, man, honestly, even people my age, until like I said, until in recent years, we would have still been the same way, Joe. We would have been like, listen, you a man, brush that off your shoulder. As long as she's not hitting you, let her talk to you, however, and just put up with it. Just be a man. But like
yeah,
now, we not going for that now. Like, if and it's not even like I'm not even about to match your energy and say anything back to you. But if that's the type of time that you on, like you gonna go do that. You gonna go do that with somebody else. A lot of these women that they never had a dad, they never had a brother. A lot of these women had, single moms where they had like, different men coming in and out of the house. They saw their mom engaging in domestic violence and in domestic, abusive relationships. So they think that that's okay. And then they deal with men. And then a lot of these women, Joe, they deal with men that go back and forth with them. And
yeah,
some of us is not doing that. Like Joe, I'm not going back and forth with no woman like you. Listen, you see me on here from day one. Like, listen, do I have my time where I tell people off? Yeah, but I run a platform and I gotta establish certain boundaries and make sure people don't think they can just come here and conduct themselves any sort of way. But like, I'm not raising my voice. I don't have a problem with people disagreeing. Even like with dealing with women, I don't have a problem with disagreement. Um, you know, if you want to express something, if you feel like I did something, I have no problem, but we're gonna go about it respectfully. because I'm always gonna lead with respect. So being that I'm always gonna lead with respect, I'm gonna be expecting respect in return. And if you're a woman that can't do that, bro, then you just gonna have to go deal with somebody else. I'm not matching that energy with you.
And you know that's the thing, man. That's why I say it. Your generation was the ones that enlightened our generation so much because you all kind of gave us permission to be free because it was what you exposed in ourselves. That's why I say, man, I listen to learn. I don't listen to try to tell you what to do or tell anybody or your generation do. I want to learn because you guys exposed so much in me to realize, okay, this is not what you're supposed to do. Because I was under the same impression too. Hey, yo, you gotta tolerate it. You a man. 'Cause she's a woman, man. She can't hurt you. It can't hurt you. She just blowing off some steam, you know. And then I would
Yeah,
go try to find better ways to communicate with her. It was always my fault, and it wasn't until like I said recently, where men are starting to say, "Wait a minute, yo." Nah, that's not how it's gonna rock. I'm not doing
exactly,
that.
Joe. And Joe,
You
you
know what
see,
I'm
you and a lot of men in your generation, y'all really had to go to like real life therapy to like figure this stuff out. But my generation, we have the Joes, we had the Kevin Samuels to like tell us like, no, like listen, I'm telling you right now, before you even get in that situation or before you get too deep into it, do not tolerate that.
Exactly.
You not more of a man because you letting a woman talk to you however and degrade you and do all this stuff. No, do not tolerate that. Let her go. I don't care how good she look. I don't care how good that box is. Let her go.
Man, I tell men that all the time. Like I don't have to tolerate it. Like I don't deal with none of that stuff. I don't deal with the back talk, the talking back, because I got my own, and I expect for you to have your own. And I'm not gonna argue with. I don't argue. I cannot stand arguing, and that's anybody. And I think that's crazy how men of my generation evolved in such a quick turnaround from your generation to be able to expose this culture and say, listen, that's not what I'm tolerating. Because
Yeah.
I look at my godson. My godson does not argue. He's a successful man. He's an
Right.
engineer. He making crazy money. He look at this. I'm not arguing with you. I'm not. And I listen to him. I'm like, wow, she didn't say nothing bad. And I would listen to him and I get educated by you. That's why I come in your live every time you're on live. I want to hear because it's
Yeah.
not just it's information that it's needed because our generation didn't have it, man. We were told to be providers. We were told to just get a chair somewhere, get that rocking chair, and that's where you'll die. And just
And
put your paycheck on the table, and you figure it out. As long as you take care of your family, that's your honor, that's your happiness is to take care of your family. Forget about you.
and another thing, Joe, is I know there's a lot of men in your generation, and again, until even recent years, because I was like this. I could say I was like this, in recent years. A lot of us felt like we had to be accomplished and we had to be successful and we had to be, quote unquote, making money for us to not have to tolerate that. But it's like, no, you're just as a man, just as a human being, you need to demand that respect and you're owed that respect. You don't have to deal with that.
Exactly.
You don't have to be this hell of a man. You don't have to be making X amount of dollars. Just as a human being, you don't have to tolerate that. Whether you work
Exactly.
at Dunkin' Donuts or whether you're like Noble or Joe, you don't have to tolerate that.
Yeah. And I think we're learning that. And like now that men are starting to develop these standards, especially real life standards, and like, yo, I'm not arguing with you. I don't want to go back and forth. You can have a discussion about something that's actually important and say,
Right.
okay, baby, how do we need to be able to move forward in whatever we're trying to accomplish? Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. If it's something tangible, I mean, if y'all over there arguing about some hypothetical bull, then that means both of y'all just two simpletons. But if you out here, you saying, look, how we get a house, or how can we do this, or how can we manage these funds a little bit better so we can be financially free or to whatever, then that's a discussion that y'all sit down and you talk about. But the emotions should never be involved in none of that. I can tell you now that my personal is like I don't argue. I haven't argued in years. Last time I argued, man, was probably 5 years with my ex-wife. I don't argue. You're not going to get me to argue, but I also control 98% of my life. So I don't need to argue with you. And the women that I met one problematic woman, you know what I'm saying? And when she plucked me in the back of my head, I looked at her, I said, this will be the last time you ever see me enjoy that drink. You'll never see me. She said, I'm sorry, I just like to do it. I said, it's okay. You'll never see me again. It was just innocent. I kept saying, I said, nope, nope. But guess what? The old Joe, had I not been introduced or had I not been educated, had I would have been still having an ego and been arrogant and not listening to your generation and not listening to y'all, I would have just said, all right, it's all right, baby, no problem, no problem. You know what I'm saying? You fine. You know, you fine. You fine. You can get away with that.
Right. Nah.
I didn't, and that's the thing. My generation, we didn't have that. But the moment we started listening, and we're like, wait a minute, yo, wait a minute, this been going on. Hold on, nah, B, I can't.
But
I can't.
but Joe, and I'm gonna say this. You can respond, and we wrap this up. But
Yeah,
I honestly think that you just said something very key about, she look good, or she look a certain way, so I'm gonna let this slide. As men, as a collective, Joe, we do that a lot.
yeah, I
The
get it.
same way there's a lot of women that they'll say they have whatever standards for a man, but the man that they really like, the man that they're really attracted to, they'll let him slide. They'll let him get away with doing certain things. Men, especially very attractive woman, or a woman that a man finds attractive, he'll let her get away with a lot of things.
I,
We do that. We do that as both men and women. But I say that to say, a lot of us men be we be creating these situations. A lot of the stuff, like I always say, man, a lot of the stuff that we experience in life, a lot of it is self-inflicted. A lot of it is self-inflicted.
yeah, I agree. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. That was me. I tolerated a lot of stuff because of what people look like and what she looked like, and I won't do that again. And also it was because it kind of sort of laid on the foundation of what my father was like. Oh, you could deal with, you can handle it. She a little love tap. She just angry or what is, whatever the case may be, and you deal with it. And that cycle of violence, man, is something we got to stop in our community in the first fucking place. We think that that's okay to do, and we think it's that level of allowing your emotions to get that freaking high where you're not even thinking logically that this is a human, this is a man that you're about to put your hands on. Who?
Joe, I do you one better. I do you one better. Because let's be real, you've probably been this guy, and shoot, I still might even be a little bit of this guy, to be honest. Look, if it's a woman that like a man doesn't find to be attractive, they'll say she's argumentative and they'll say she's combative. But let it be that girl that they find attractive. Let it be that girl that they like.
I've done that.
She's feisty. She feisty. She got a
Yeah.
little spice to her. I like it. Like, let's
Hmm.
be real. And it's like, no, she's the same way as the other woman that you don't find attractive, but you just saying that she's feisty, and you saying she got a little spice to her, and it's like a little turn on for you now just because you like her.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. I've done that. I have done that very much, a lot,
Exactly.
and,
Exactly.
and that's what leads us with the wrong one. And that's what leads us down that path, man, of tolerating certain behavior that we shouldn't be allowing to happen, man. And then bad things happen, but then also women, they get with that guy who allows it, and that guy gets them comfortable, and that one guy makes them assume every man's like that, and then
Yeah.
they go out there and do something to that one guy that says, you think you're a man, okay, cool, and then next thing you know, they're in a bad situation, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
and it don't end up right, and now they're trying to figure out some things and when it doesn't have to end up that way. You have to be able to make sense and say, okay, I need to really need to do something with my temper, and I think that's what a lot of things that we need to be able to expose. That's why I think your channel is important. Rebels channel is important, and even the women who talk about men are very much important because we have to expose this culture to be able to say, hey man, maybe we need to be slowing down a little bit. We need to
Man,
be really.
Joe, I want listen. They just said two key things in the comments. My girl Manny said it's like that in the beginning, then y'all end up in a relationship and she starts slashing tires. Listen, Joe, this is another thing. This is
Having
another thing. When a woman when a woman gets to the point where she's slashing tires or she's destroying materialistic items, there's a lot of times where us men and just men in general, Joe, when you see a woman being that emotional over you, you really link that with love. You like, man, this woman is really like head
yeah
and heels, like all over me. Like she to the point where she's doing all this. And it's like there's nothing positive about that. Like a human being shouldn't be conducting themselves in that matter. But you associate that with love. You associate that with like, man, she's really crazy over me. Like I really love this girl. Like,
yeah I
nah,
get that.
that's toxic.
What's crazy, man? When I was young, I let one of my homeboys drive my car. He was going on a date, and I had tinted windows, and my girl thought it was me, and but she seen the female in there, but she didn't see the driver. So she went to the movie theater and slashed all the tires and bust all my windows, and then called me, and I said, she said, yeah, you want to go take that chick out, and I said, wait a minute, I'm home. And she said, what? I said, Will got my homeboy Will got my car. And then she started
She
crying.
felt crazy.
You know what I'm saying? And she was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And he called me and was like, yo, G. And I had to go up there. And what's crazy was they told my car when they told the car and stuff like that, I forgave her. I was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. It was a mistake. I said, just pay for it, get it done.
Nah.
She didn't even give me half. But see,
Yeah.
that's the mindset that I was in. I was like, yo, she got it. I gave her a pass.
That's a
My mind,
mindset a lot of men be in, Joe.
yeah, yeah,
Because and I want Caribbean in the comments. Miss Connie says same goes for women. If the eggplant is good, they tolerate a lot. We're not women, but I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's
yeah,
very true as well.
yeah, yeah. Until you and that's the thing. It's like we all tolerate so much, and but for me personally, I've tolerated, and that was the thing. And it was like, and what's crazy is that what happens is as men, it's a joke to us. How many times have you seen it where these things happen and it's a joke and everybody's laughing at this man getting beaten?
Yeah,
It's only recently where they stopped doing it. You know what
man.
I'm saying? Back in the day, they would do that. They would make these
Joe,
jokes
I've
about
said this
men.
all the time, and I've said this so many times on this platform. In the black community, if a man calls if a man calls the law on his woman, and don't let that woman be the mother of his kids, whether it's his wife or the mother of his kids, he's gonna get talked down on by the people in our community.
Yeah,
But if the woman called a law on the man, then everyone's gonna understand. As a man, you be verbally abusive to the woman, you get physically aggressive with the woman, you in the wrong. You call the law on your woman, you call the law on the mother of your kids, you a bitch, you in the wrong. It's no winning. It's no winning.
it isn't. And what's crazy, man? That I think that I'm hoping that change because men ain't breeding. They not coming back from this, man. You know what I'm
That's why you
saying?
got to stay away from. That's why, man. Listen, I pray you just like as us men, bro. You just and I'm listen. We're still gonna continue. I know men in my age demographic, men in your age demographic, man. Y'all like just super established out here and stuff. And y'all done lived life. Y'all already done been through all this. I'm sure a lot of men in my age demographic, even though we just have a lot of resources and a lot of information that you guys didn't have at our age. We still gonna put up with some stuff out of quote unquote love, I guess, or not knowing any better, but you know that like I hope that stuff stops too, Joe. I hope that stuff stops. I hope a lot of stuff stops.
I think it will, man. The more everybody, I think the more and more we expose each other, man, and we open these doors, these Pandora boxes, man. I think it will. I think that you're starting to see the shift now. It may be slight, but you start to see the shift in the women's thought process, especially in my age range, where they're starting to think a little differently. Like you can't do the same thing you can do in your 20s, but you can't talk to a man that same way who is established,
Exactly.
and you start to realize, hey man, this man got a home to go home to. You can't go and say, well, get out, and he gonna be like, well, I'm gonna stay, gonna live with my mama here. I ain't
Exactly.
going back home. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? He got a whole house to live to go back, and
Right.
so you can't say you want this quote unquote high value man and think that he's gonna risk everything based on your anger, and you can't control your anger and your attitude. I mean, ain't no man gonna risk that, man. I'm not risking my livelihood for that. You
Mm-mm.
know, and if I
Not
got,
at
you
all.
know what I'm saying, and I don't want to feel uncomfortable in my own comfort anymore. I lived that life, bro, and I'll tell anybody I'm not. So I've always our generation for opening and expose, giving permission to expose this shit. We'll say, hey, yo, we got to open the door to this stuff because it's the only way it's going to change. Only way. Saying, well, hey, bro, let me get a ball for here, man. I love y'all, man. I'll holler at you
Yeah,
later,
love
bro.
y'all. G. Holla at you, man.